Alrighty. We're going to go ahead and get started. To start us off, I would like to introduce State Senator Dr. Aisha Wahab.
Hi, folks. I just wanted to, just thank you all for being here. I represent the Senate District 10, which is basically from San Jose all the way up north to Hayward. It's a very large district. I represent over 1 million people, and I want to highlight how housing is incredibly important. We've hosted a couple of different events regarding housing very specifically. I want to make sure that we connect constituents with the resources that are out there. And sometimes it is daunting, it is overwhelming. It also doesn't seem like it's actually doing anything. So I've heard all of the arguments of what we're doing with housing and so forth. And I agree. And that is why we tend to try to host these types of conversations. We have built partnerships with many different organizations to kind of just give you guys the facts, give you guys, some of the resources that are out there. I will say that I am the only renter in the state Senate. As a renter, I know that, if you want to purchase a home, it's incredibly difficult to do so, especially in my district where the average home is about $1.4 million. And the starter homes are going for about $700,000 to $750,000. So I know it's very hard to save money for the down payments, especially with high rents and other burdens. So we're just really genuinely trying to help, folks get connected, answer some questions. This upcoming year, I really want to focus on affordability issues and just exactly where the money is going and how streamlined this is or isn't. And I just wanted to kind of provide some of these things for you guys. So the first time home buyers programs that are out there, and I want to just highlight some of the things. We have the California Housing Finance Agency, which basically reviews their loan programs. I'm sure you guys have heard it. Oftentimes, some of the programs that they have has a very short window. And, as much as possible, we need to keep promoting that. We also have the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. Basically, they will share what it means to be ready to buy a home, the home buying process, which is daunting, and how to avoid some scams. In other states, we are seeing more and more scams related to mortgages and AI and even people giving out the loans, they're getting scammed. And so we want to just avoid scams as much as possible. We also have the Department of Real Estate, which will share, the resources on how to ensure you are in contact with a licensed agent or broker. As I said, that kind of piggybacks off of the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. And we have A1 Community Housing Services that will talk about home buyer education and grant programs. And finally, we're going to have the Silicon Valley Energy group that will share, basically how you can save money as a homeowner. And that's obviously utilities, costs, and so forth are going up. But there's a lot of different programs within a lot of these organizations. We're going to try to put in contact information so you guys can follow up on your individual needs, individual desires, and so forth, and really get your questions answered. But this is high-level overview. We're going to go through this pretty quickly. We do want your questions and so forth in the chat. And I just really want to thank everybody who, is partnering with us to kind of do this, and really appreciate the time and effort here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wahab. Next up, we are actually going to start with Eric Johnson, who has visited us from the California Housing Finance Agency.
Yes, and I was on a presentation that you did back in March, Dr. Wahab, and I'm sorry to hear that your request for homeownership has not yet come to fruition, but believe.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
My name is Eric Johnson. I grew up in the South Bay, so I'm very familiar with the housing challenges in Silicon Valley and the areas around there. Housing has become even more unaffordable in California, which is why we exist. We were formed back in 1975 when Jerry Brown had his first time around, and we're coming up on 50 years of helping people buy their first homes. We've helped about 226,000 Californians buy their first homes, and many more with down payment assistance and other things. We do housing counseling. We did the mortgage protection program, which helped people avoid foreclosure. and other things like that. So we're kind of got our fingers on a lot of pies. But what I really want to talk to tonight is what Senator Wahab was talking about, which is home ownership and how to buy a home. Next slide, please. Um, what we do is we work with a network of preferred loan officers throughout California. And what they are, those are people who work with banks. When you walk into a Chase or a Wells Fargo or a Guild Mortgage or something like that, the people who they're going to take all your requirements. They're going to look at your credit score. They're going to look at your debt to income ratio. Other numbers that sound very, very scary, but can be easily be gotten at. One of the things that's most important for us is home buyer education. We believe, and we saw back in 2008, 2009, sometimes it's not actually all that hard to get into a home. What really think is important is the ability for a home buyer to stay in the home. And that's what our loan officers believe also. We want to make sure that you get into a home that you can afford the payments. So we found is many people have a steady job. They've got decent credit scores. So they've got the ability to make those monthly payments. The challenge is that a lot of banks want a pretty hefty down payment, which is the amount of money you have to put down just to get the process started. That can be 10, 20% of the price of a home. And if you're even looking at a $500,000 home, that's $100,000 in cash that you need to have. And a lot of people don't have that. What we do is we work with these banks to offer a product. So the only need that we help you out with that down payment. You can finance up to 97% of the first loan, and then we will give you a second loan of up to 3.5% of the value of the loan. And on that 3.5%, you don't have to make any payments until the first loan is refinanced or paid off. And really the most important thing, and I'm going to say this over and over and over again today, is that this presentation, anything I say to you over this internet connection is not going to be a whole lot of help unless you're willing to take that first step of actually talking to a lender. We have a list of preferred loan officers on our website. Is down there, calhfa.ca.gov, and almost any one of them can get you started. So we do have a couple requirements. We have a minimum credit score of 660. We do have income limits that vary by county, but they're pretty generous. I know that in some of the Bay Area counties, Alameda County, for instance, the income limit is north of $300,000. That's what a moderate income home buyer is these days. Our home loans are for low and moderate income buyers. So it's going to be probably in the areas that Senator Wahab is covering. Between $200,000 or $300,000 is the income limit. We want to make sure we aren't financing homes in, Brentwood or Granite Bay up here in Sacramento. You also need to occupy the home as your primary residence. This isn't for people who want to buy a home and then rent it out. We do understand that circumstances can come up. So if you end up in one of our loans and say you get transferred or you have a military contract you need to fulfill, we can work with you, but you have to intend to occupy the home as your primary residence. We do have mandatory homeowner education counseling. As I was saying, it's important that people know exactly what they're getting into. It's a 6-hour online course. It goes through all the basics and all the complicated terms. What exactly is escrow? I don't think I understood what escrow was until I was 30 years old. There's a lot of things again, the terminology can be a little bit confusing, but if you have a good team on your hand, one of our preferred loan officers, find yourself a really good real estate agent. I think DRE can talk more about that. It's really important to have professionals on your side who can help you handhold through the process and make sure you fill out all the paperwork right and that you are qualified for that loan. You also do have to be a first-time home buyer, and that's not quite what it seems. What that means is you have to have not owned a home in the past 3 years. So for instance, if you were buying a home and you got foreclosed on, or you had to sell it for whatever reason back in 2018, it's been 3 years. So you are a first-time home buyer once again. Again, there's more requirements online, but I really do recommend that you contact one of our preferred loan officers. Next slide. So as you can see, we have several different loan programs. We have our typical FHA, which is the Federal Housing Administration, and we have a VA loan. If you're a veteran, you can use one of our programs. You also have a USDA loan, which is for agricultural properties that can be more than 5 acres in size. The VA and the USDA loans have some pretty specific requirements, but still they're worth investigating if you think there's even the chance that the property you're looking for might qualify. Next slide. And then our conventional loans is the opposite side. There's two markets for housing loan insurance. That's really what's the conventional versus FHA. Conventional means the private industry is insuring your home line, basically making sure that you pay the home loan. And the government side is the FHA. Again, the Federal Housing Administration is insuring that loan. Interest rates can vary, and we're always introducing new programs. We're thinking may have something new in the next in 2025. So make sure you visit our website often and keep your eye on what's going on. Next slide, please. And really, here's the heart of where we're at. Our down payment assistance programs. Our flagship loan is the My Home Assistance Program, which, depending on whether you get an FHA or a conventional loan, again, your loan officer is going to be able to help you figure out which loan is going to be best for your specific circumstances. There's no one loan that's best for everybody. But these loans can get you up to 3 or 3.5% of the purchase price. So, for instance, say you're buying a house that the purchase price is $500,000. Normally, your first loan, your mortgage would be $500,000. You make monthly payments on that amount, $500,000. With the My Home Assistance Program, a 3% of that would be $15,000. So what that means is your monthly mortgage payment is only on $485,000. Yes, it's a little weird for me to say only $485,000, but that difference can make a difference. That can be a difference of $40, $60, $100 a month in your mortgage payment, which can make the difference between you qualifying or not qualifying for the loan. Next one. Oh, wow, I blazed through. Let's go back one slide so it's still talking about me a little bit. One of the other things we really recommend is that people talk to a home buying counselor. There's a network of those, again, all throughout the state. They can be either in person or virtual or over the phone. And what they are is they're an agency, nonprofit. Again, you want a HUD approved HUD, Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is a subsidiary of HFA, of FHA. So many acronyms, so many acronyms. And what these counseling aides can do is they can sit with you and help you figure out if you're really ready for it. They'll look at your income, they'll look at your debts, look at your expenses, look at your job, look at kind of your whole life in general. They can sit down with you and really figure it out. Now, these services are free. And there's also a list on our website. If you Google CalHFA counseling, then you'll come up with a list of counselors in California. I know we have several in the East Bay Richmond Housing Services, for instance, in the kind of up near Oakland, but there are others, and they can be really helpful. And more importantly, they are free, no cost to you. So I guess my take home is one, don't be afraid to take that first step. There's nothing can happen if you just call a lender, one of the folks on our website. Two, really recommend that you talk to a homeownership counselor. They can help you navigate things, and it's a scary process. I will be 100% honest. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of time, and it's some really large numbers. But I just went down and filmed a success story with a family down in Moreno Valley, and they've been working with a realtor for 5 years. They finally decided, you know what, let's make it real. And the realtor said, you know what, this isn't a dream. The way to make a dream into reality is with a plan. Sat down with them, said, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to just roll along in your existing car, and you're not going to buy yourself new televisions. And you're going to, if you need to, pick up an extra shift at your job. Here's how much you're going to need to do every month. And they did. They buckled down. The Sanchez family decided we're going to do it. So I went down, was able to take a video of them sitting on their new couch in their new home after renting for 20 years right around Moreno Valley. They finally were able to get a home where both their boys have their own bedroom. They've got a backyard with a little garden where they can plant vegetables. They're no longer having to park their car half a mile from their apartment. They can roll right into their driveway. A whole new world. And they never thought it would happen after renting for 20 years. They're ready to throw up their hands. But it is possible. You can do it. Find yourself a good team, a good loan officer, a good real estate agent, and you can make it happen. Senator Wahab, I'm talking to you. Make a plan. You can make it happen. Check out our website, calhfa.ca.gov, all kinds of resources, all kinds of helpful information, and don't lose hope. It is still possible to buy your first home in California. Thanks.
Thank you so
Let's
much,
I think
Eric.
we're at the Q&A. Yeah.
Oh, yep, time for a Q&A. If anyone has any questions, please use the Q&A feature. Eric will be able to see those. We'll give you about a minute just to see if anyone has any questions, and if not, we can move along.
You know, while we're waiting for questions, I do want to add a comment here. I plug Cal HFA wherever I can. I have a friend, actually, my best friend is an undocumented immigrant, and they were able to go through Cal HFA to buy their house. So I love it. It's a great testament. And I don't know if you want to talk a little more about that, Eric.
I don't know. We don't have any actual overlays about citizenship. And I know that the whole idea of being an undocumented immigrant is a little bit contentious right now. So I don't want to make any promises. I think it's super awesome that your buddy was able to get a home. That's fantastic. That's really, really great. If they'd be interested in filming a success story for us, please pass on their information to me. I'd love to send a video crew out there and hear about their journey so other people can be inspired.
It looks like we do have one question in a chat for you, Eric. Are the government loans and conventional loans described on the slide separate? Can they apply for a deferred loan of 3.5% and another deferred loan of 3%, or just one or the other?
Those are just one or the other, but that's a really good question because one of the other valuable things about our loans is a lot of times you can layer them with local government programs. Some local governments have money specifically for first-time home buyers, and we've had people layer on, 3% with us, another 2% with a closing cost assistance program, and then maybe another 5% from a local government. All of a sudden, boom, there's 10% less, 10% of your down payment there, which can really make a difference in terms of affordability. So thank you for bringing that up. Again, really make sure that you talk to a counselor, a loan officer. They're going to be able to figure out what combination of loans is going to make it happen for you.
All right, it looks like that was the last question. Thank you so much, Eric, for being here today and all the information that you provided to us.
You bet. And thank you, Senator Wahab and Elizabeth, for inviting me to be here today. Good luck to everybody.
Next up, we have Ku Lee presenting on behalf of the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation and the California Department of Real Estate.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Senator Wahab, for allowing me to present. Again, my name is Cooley. I'm the Director of Targeted Outreach at the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, also known as the FPI. So just quickly, let's talk about who we are. I have a ton of slides. I'm going to run through this as quick as I can. Who is the DFPI? What is our role? Well, we help maintain a fair, healthy, and trusted financial marketplace in California. We do this by licensing, regulating, overseeing a number of financial services products professionals. So that includes things like mortgage lenders, mortgage originators, payday lenders, investment broker-dealer advisors, student loan. So basically almost any professional or industry that's financial related, banks, credit unions, they have to be licensed and regulated by us. If you as a consumer do experience any issues with your mortgage lender, mortgage servicer, bank, credit union, you can always come to us, submit a complaint, and we will help review and investigate that complaint for you. The other thing we do is presentations just like this throughout California, again, helping consumers to become financially literate and also to help prevent them from falling prey from frauds and scams. Next slide, please. I want to plug one more thing before we jump into the actual presentation. The DFPI, we offer free financial education online. You go to dfpi.ca.gov/learn. All you need is an email address. It is completely open to anyone and everyone to use. It's got a ton of different modules. We call them courses on things like budgeting, investing, retirement planning, buying a house, getting out of debt, building your credit, that kind of thing. With your email address as when you register, if you're in the middle of a module and need to walk away, you can come back. It saves your space. So again, dfpi.ca.gov/learn, completely free and open to anyone to use. Check it out if you want to learn more about some financial education and financial literacy topics. Next slide. So a little bit of motivation. Usually I keep this at the very end, but I kind of like having it right up front. I do want to acknowledge, right? I'm not naive. Homes are expensive in California. I would know. I'm in the process of closing on my house right now. But I do want to say that renting isn't throwing your money away. When I do a lot of my budgeting webinars or workshops, a lot of people, they say that I feel like I'm throwing my money when I'm renting, and I say that's not true. What you're doing is you're buying time. You use this time to create. Oh, sorry, go back one slide. You're using this time to create a timeline, right, to achieve your dreams. So start planning, right? This time. Another thing you want to do is you want to share your dream with others, right? The dream of buying a home. One of the things that my sergeant, when I was in the Army, always imparted on us was opportunities favor the prepared, right? Opportunities come and they go. They really do. And it doesn't matter what the market conditions are. You may have a friend that's leaving California and they need a short sell their house. If you're prepared, you might be able to buy their house, maybe on very good terms, right? So be prepared, right? And that's what my presentation is going to be about. And the other thing my squad leader always told me is, hey, if you're going to get angry, you're allowed to, but you better do something about it, right? So if you're angry about expensive homes, you're absolutely entitled to that, but you better do something about it, which is, in my opinion, preparing to, again, putting action out there. Okay, next slide. All right, so just talk about my presentation. It's about the path to home ownership, right? It is a significant investment, and it is a step towards building generational wealth. It is definitely a long and difficult process, right? It's not easy. Again, I'm right at the tail end of my journey. Don't rush. Take your time, right? Be careful. Again, it's a huge investment, probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, probably the biggest purchase you'll ever make. Get the help you need. Find and use trusted professionals and advisors. And by being here and watching this webinar and getting this information, that's exactly what you're doing. So thank you. Do your research, right? Again, part of the taking your time is doing the research you need for yourself to make the situation better for you. Look at the school districts, right, where you're looking to buy a house. Look at travel time from your house to work, from house to groceries, from access to other services and things that you enjoy. Do your research. Don't just go out there trying to buy the cheapest house. Find the house that's best for you. And the other thing is, again, a little piece of motivation here. Start the process now. Start planning now. Start thinking about it now. Because again, part of my home buying workshop, a lot of people come up to me and say, "Hey, how can I time the market right?" And I tell them, "Listen, you got to start now." And when was the best time to buy a house? It was 5 years ago. And then when was the best time to buy a house? 5 years ago? It was 5 years before that. So you need to kind of start right now, because 5 years from now, you don't want to come back and be like, "Why? When's the best time to buy a house?" Because I'm going to tell you, it was 5 years ago. So next slide, please. Step one, are you ready to buy a house? This is kind of the first step everyone should, the first question they should ask themselves, the first step they really need to take. You really need a budget, right? Find out how much can you afford. What is your actual credit score, right? You need to start saving for a down payment. It's so important because a down payment is not just putting it on your house, but it's also money for closing costs and other expenses you will need when you start moving your house. So step one, preparing, right? Are you ready to buy a house? Great question that you need to start out with. Next slide. Step two, get pre-qualified for a mortgage. There's a difference between pre-qualification and the other one is, so there's pre-qual and then there is pre-approval. Pre-qualification is just basically a process that you go through with a lender. Again, I would recommend going to Cal HFA, talking to one of their mortgage professionals to help you get pre-qualified. They're going to ask you questions about your financial information. Another thing here is shop around, right? Just don't go to the first person. If you have a relationship with your local bank or credit union, I recommend looking there as well, especially if they have a Cal HFA approved mortgage lender there. And you want to complete the pre-qualification letter. You want to or application, then you get the letter. And when you have that letter, it's basically I think of it like a golden ticket, right? Whenever you want to start the conversation, whenever you of buying a house, it's a great point to show them that you're serious, that you've been pre-qualified by a lender. that you have your financial information, that you're prepared. And again, remember, a pre-qualification letter is not a guarantee of approval. The pre-approval process takes longer, but again, pre-qualification is that really big step to say, I'm very serious now about purchasing a house. Next slide. Okay, step 3, so important, find and contract with a real estate agent. I'm going to be going over some of the California Department of Real Estate slides where I'm going to talk a little more about this, but it's so important to talk to a good, shop around with your agents, right? A good agent can help you navigate the home buying process and find the right home for you. I've had bad real estate agents and I've had great real estate agents. You know, you want to make sure your real estate agent is licensed with the California DRE, and they have a database which you could look them up, and you can also find out if they have any actions, enforcement actions that are levied against them. But again, don't feel like you're stuck in a corner with a real estate agent. If you've been working with one for a couple of months, a couple of weeks, and they are just not working for you, find someone else, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Next slide. Okay, so finding your home, you want to determine what kind of home needs you have, right? So how many rooms, how many bathrooms do you need, what size of house? Again, there's a significant difference between the home you want and the home you need. And don't feel like you can't that you just want to buy your starter home right, you want to buy your dream home right off the bat, right? Sometimes it really just takes that starter home. Once you buy it, it's going to appreciate in value. You're going to pay it down, and then you could sell that off and then buy your next dream house, right? So again, determine what home needs you have. Consider the maintenance costs, right? Believe me, a pool and a hot tub is really expensive. So consider that when you're thinking about buying a house that has one. Don't forget about HOA fees, right? Home ownership association fees, or special, flood taxes or fire taxes that might be levied against that property. So look into that. And of course, you want to work with your agent to find the home that meets your needs and budget. Next slide. All right, step 5, you want to make an offer. So once you've gone through all those 4 steps, you found the house that you're ready to buy. Again, we talked about doing the research about the location and schools. You also want to understand the market conditions a little bit, right? Look at all, and get a great real estate agent is going to be able to give you what they call the comps, right? Which is the comparable costs, comparable prices of homes around different properties, all that kind of good stuff. So understanding the market conditions is going to help you understand the value of your home, also the home you want to buy, and then also the offer that you want to submit. Consider property's condition. You want to, think about adding a letter with your offer. I submitted a letter with one of the offers I put in, and I was one of the finalists because of my offer. I just talked about my family, what I do for work, and why I wanted the house. And so again, that kind of put me one of the finalists when we were submitting an offer for a house. I mean, of course, you always want to work with your agent to submit an offer. Your agent should be working on your behalf to get you the best price possible. And they can, again, based on their experience, they're the ones who are going to help you negotiate repairs, additional costs, that kind of a thing. Next slide. Always be prepared to negotiate. Unless you're accepting their offer, with no other conditions, be prepared to negotiate, be flexible, set your limits, right? Some people try to chase. So maybe you try to bid low, but then they come out high, and you might get into a long, lengthy negotiation process. Set your limits. Tell yourself it's just like I tell individuals going to a casino or gambling, hey, put a limit to yourself so you don't extend more, or you don't chase an offer which you can't afford, right? Again, a good real estate agent can provide expert advice and help negotiate for you. Next slide. Get inspections, so important, right? Even on newer homes, you want to definitely have it inspected. So things like for pests, you want to review your home inspection carefully, right? If there are repairs that are required, you definitely want to consult with professionals, get different bids on it. And then of course you could always ask the seller to make the repairs for you or give concessions so that you can make those repairs. You don't want to move into a house, buy a house that has issues on day one, right? You're going to be stressed out enough about having to pay a mortgage and then having to move and then having to maybe move your kids to school, that kind of thing, then you don't want to worry about repairs or leaky faucets or things like that. So definitely want to get inspections and get that taken care of before you move in. Next slide. And of course, you're going to get an appraisal, right? Appraisals are usually required, almost always required by a lender. You might need to renegotiate with the seller to pay for any additional costs if the appraisal doesn't meet the lending requirements. Next slide. And then finally, we're talking about closing. This is the final step in the home buying process. There are so many fees, so you always want to keep extra cash. I like to say at least $10,000 to cover closing costs. There's so many different closing fees, so things like loan origination, attorney fees, appraisal, title, search and insurance, homeowners insurance, property taxes. They prorate the property taxes. So all of these fees are part of the home buying process. There's almost no way to go around. You could shop around, to be honest. You could shop around, but I would recommend you at least have $10,000 set aside to cover these closing costs. Otherwise, you're going to be at the very end of your home buying journey, and if you don't have that money, then you can't even pay the cost of lending or closing the home. So again, be aware of that. Next slide. Okay, real quickly, I just want to talk about some home mortgage scams and fraud, right? There's property title scams. That's when someone offers to give you a loan or cash for exchange for taking over your mortgage and title. We saw a lot of this back in the Great Recession. It's still around, but let's just be so careful if someone is offering you to take over your loan and you could live in the house while they have your title. That's a big red flag, and you want to do your research on them. Loan modification fraud. So this is again, we talk about leaseback, which is someone takes over your mortgage and then they promise to lease the home back to you, right? You can live and rent in it. Again, big red flag. Refinancing scams and schemes. Again, if someone is offering to help refinance, make your mortgages more affordable, you want to be very careful. You could always come to us and look up the loan servicers, mortgage lenders as well. Make sure they're reputable, because sometimes these loan refinances can be very expensive. They throw on a ton of different fees, so you might actually end up having a larger payment at the end, or higher interest rates, or that kind of thing. And then of course we have the foreclosure rescue fraud. So that's like a fraud or scheme, basically, where again, if you're in some kind of foreclosure process, someone going to come in and say, oh, we'll buy out your house for you, and instead what they do is they probably just take the title from you and never give you the money. So again, be very careful of all of those. There's a lot of different loan modification fraud out there. Interest rate and switch, again, you know what my team always says, which is absolutely right, is if it's too good to be true, if someone's offering you a really crazy great mortgage rate, it probably is too good to be true. So look into it, definitely do your research, be very careful. Loan closing scams, right? Home loans closing scams, again, right at the tail end of your home buying journey. I'm going to share one story here. There was a story, I believe it was in the LA Times, where an individual was at the process of closing their home. They had put on social media that, hey, we're about to buy a house. And then they get contacted by someone who was posing as their loan company. And then that scammer basically said, you need to wire us your down payment right now so we could close on the loan. And that's what she did. This home buyer wired the money to the scammer, and she lost it all. She lost her down payment. So again, be very careful if someone is calling you, asking you to wire money to them, or send your money, send a cashier's check to them. What I did was I literally walked into my bank. I had them issue me a cashier's check in hand, and then I went to the actual closing company, the title company, and I handed them an escrow company actually. And then I handed them my cashier's check, and they handed me a receipt saying that they got the cashier's check. That is literally the safest thing. Some places require you to do a wire transfer, and I understand that. You want to double, triple check, make sure you're wiring it to the right person. You're wiring it, definitely wiring it to the right person, the entity. Okay, next slide. All right, I want to talk about the California Department of Real Estate. They were not able to make it to this webinar, but they have some really great information, and I could take their questions and answers as well as ones for us. Next slide. So the DRE's mission is to safeguard and promote the public interest in real estate matters through licensing, regulating, education, and enforcement. Next slide. They have a lot, over 400,000 licensees. So that's real estate agents, brokers as well. And so, yeah, brokers, salespersons, that's kind of the breakdown of their licensees. By the way, if you want to look up brokers or salespersons, they do have a database. You want to go to their website, dre.ca.gov, and you could look a person's name up. And there might be multiple names, but you could always go down, find the right company they should be working for. They should have a license number. And if they have any enforcement actions against them, it'll be listed in that database. Next slide, please. Mortgage, oh, sorry. There you go, perfect. Mortgage lender origination. So DRE also licenses mortgage lender originators, right? Mortgage loan originators. They have over 27,000 licensees there. Again, all part of that database. You could look up mortgage loan lender originators. Make sure that that organization is licensed and in good standing. Next slide. They have a lot of consumer education. They have a fantastic podcast. Podcast available in English and Spanish. They have, again, if you subscribe to them, then you could get real estate bulletins, right? Things like consumer alerts. And they are working on a blog and speaker series. So you could always visit their newsroom, subscribe to them, and get more information once that's available. Next slide, please. Again, we talked a little about the looking up a license. So you can look up the license of a real estate agent or broker, a mortgage loan originator. So again, you want to make sure that a real estate professional's license is not expired, right? It's in good standing, and that all the information that they're providing you matches, right? I've heard of some scams where a fraudster would pose as a real estate agent. They may even take information from the DRE's database, right? Posing as someone, using their real estate license, that kind of thing. Again, be very, very careful, especially when you're shopping around for a real estate agent. Make sure they're the actual person, make sure they have the actual license. And by the way, I believe their contact information should be part of the licensee lookup. So always double check it. 5 minutes of checking is going to save you a lifetime of headache. Next slide, please. So here's a lot of different red flags. I apologize for the small print. So there's a lot of different red flags. I'm not going to read through all of them because it's so many, but I do want to highlight a couple, which are things like being asked to pay for cash, right? So if a real estate agent says, hey, I want you to pay for my services ahead of time and pay in cash, big red flag, right? If you're asked to transfer a title, that's a big red flag, right? You should never be asked to transfer a title. You should go through an escrow company or a title company. If you're offered things like audits, or if they're asking you for personal information, like what is your financial information, what is your social security number, that should not, those are big red flags, right? So be aware of all these different frauds. I believe these slides will be available to you, so you can go back and read through these, make sure you're being careful in your home buying process. Next slide, please. Okay, so we'll talk quickly about the DRE's enforcement team, their legal team. So obviously they enforce real estate law, and they also conduct investigations, right, of different licensees, unlicensed real estate professionals, applicants as well. So if you have an issue with your real estate agents, and it's more just if it's a kind of a violation, right, issue, you can submit a complaint to the DRE. And they will conduct an investigation of that licensee. Because to be honest, if it's a broker or a real estate agent, and they're conducting some kind of malicious business of some sort, especially on you, right? If they're trying to collect your financial personal information, that's definitely against the law. And if you submit a complaint, again, the DRE will investigate that, and hopefully they'll stop it from happening to not just you, but other people that these individuals might be trying to scam or defraud. So again, so important for you to submit a complaint if you have that kind of an issue with your real estate agent or broker, or if you observe it. Next slide, please. So we talked about submitting complaints. They have an online complaint form. You can also download the complaints from their website. And if you want the complaint form mailed to you, you just call that number right there, 877-373-4542. They will mail you a form, and then you can fill out and mail it back to them. Again, they want to be able to help you in your home buying journey and make sure they're removing any of those malicious licensees that might be operating, or even individuals who are operating without a license. Next slide. With that, I want to say again, thank you to Senator Wahab and for having this opportunity to talk to you. Are we going to do the Q&A right here?
We are. If anybody has any questions, please put them in the Q&A option, and they will be answered. We'll give you a minute if you have any questions. It looks like one says, how long was your timeline for the house that you are currently closing on? And congratulations, by the way, too.
Thank you. Thank you. For me, the timeline was about, well, closing was about 30 days, just a little over 30 days. So about 45 days. And it's the home buying process was long. It took us about a year to find the right house. We submitted a lot of different offers, but once we got down to it, it's just, being prepared, right? So having that closing cost, having the down payment ready, having your credit in great shape, not going out and spending a lot of money, right? You want to have a really great financial record as well as credit, because the underwriter for your loan is going to check your records one more time before they issue the loan to make sure that you didn't go out and buy a bunch of Bitcoin right before you're buying this house. So thank you for the question. And yes, it was about 45 days. Thank you.
I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat. So thank you so much, Ku, for being here today. We really appreciate all the insights. Next up, we have Lourdes Colon from A1 Community Housing Services.
Good evening, everyone. So glad you guys can join us today. I am with A1 Community Housing. We are a HUD-approved agency. A little bit about us here at A1 Community Housing Services. We are a HUD-approved agency, and we are recognized by the IRS as a nonprofit 501c3 organization. We are located in Hayward, California. And we offer a range of programs focused on addressing homeless, providing financial education, educating the first-time home buyers, offering rental counseling, preventing foreclosure, and managing credit. Next slide. Next. There we go. We recognize that knowledge is power. Since launching the housing program in 2016 here at A1 Community Housing, we've educated and assisted over 5,000 households in the area of rental, first-time home buyer education, financial literacy, and foreclosure prevention. Our counseling and education services are free, and a large part due to support from our local community partners and funders. Next. We are experienced and certified. That's one of the things that HUD definitely requires. Again, my name is Lourdes Colon. I am the presenter today. However, I am a certified HUD housing counselor, and I have extensive training and experience in the housing industry for over 15 years. Next. The free services that we provide here at A1 Community Housing is first-time homebuyers certification workshop, foreclosure prevention counseling, financial literacy, money management counseling, rental counseling, and pre-purchase counseling. Next. You might ask why home buyer education is important, right? There are many reasons why it's very important. Number one is to access special programs. As home buyers education course, it helps that buyer discover programs that might be available for down payment assistance, grants, and help with closing costs. There's a wide range of state programs available. Many programs are available for first-time home buyers, each with its own guidelines and requirements. So each program that you may apply for might be a little different than the other, but each one has their own requirements. Unbiased guidance from qualified housing counselors. Experienced HUD certified counselors provide objective guidance and education on the home buying process, which is really important because we're here to assist and guide you guys through the process. Because as counselors, the one thing that we do love and enjoy is to make sure that you guys become, successful in owning your own home. So that's one of the things that we pride ourselves here at A1 Community Housing. Next. Our HUD-approved first-time homebuyer class empowers our community to better navigate and understand home buying process and prepare to become successful homeowners. This program gives you a depth look at understanding the importance of credit, qualifying for a mortgage, preparing for home ownership, shopping for a home, available down payment assistance and grants information managing money, and of course, post-purchase. Next. One of the things that we do have here at A1 is free monthly workshops available in both English and in Spanish. It's an 8-hour class divided into part 1 and part 2. It includes your one-on-one counseling session with one of our teams. We also have another option, which is self-paced virtual course. You take the course at your own pace. It includes your one-on-one counseling session with one of our team. It costs about $99 for the course, fee applies, and it's available in English and in Spanish. Next. We offer homebuyers free one-on-one counseling with our certified housing counselor to determine mortgage readiness. Whether you're just starting or are already in the process, our team can help you navigate service cost free. What that consists of, guys, is pretty much your credit report assessment and recommendations to improve credit if needed, developing a budget and action plan with steps that lead towards homeownership, overview of your home buying process, of course, the pros and cons of being a homeowner, to prepare for the responsibility of being a homeowner. As we all know, it's the biggest purchase that you're going to make in a lifetime. So we want to make sure that you're ready and prepared for that. Next. We go over different programs and in grants that are available in different counties. Like, for example, in Santa Clara County, there's the Empower Homebuyers. There's also lender grants. There's the CalFHA, and there's the WISH. There's also in Alameda, there are also some other programs as well. Now, I also want to include with that's not on the slide, but I do want to include it, and that is 2 more programs that are available, okay? And that program is pretty much the Black Initiative, which will give you about $10,000, and Black Wealth, which is another $10,000. So those are 2 separate programs that are also available in Santa Clara County and Alameda County as well. Okay. Now, to talk about a little bit, next slide. To talk about a little bit about the Empowerment Program, the Empowerment Homebuyers is a down payment assistance loan. for the first-time home buyers in Santa Clara County. If a home buyer has at least 3% of the home purchase price saved, the Empower loan can provide up to 30% of the purchase price, which is totaling about 33% on your home, right? Now, the max that the Empower program will give you, the cap is $250,000. Now, it is a shared equity, the same as your percentage you initially received. The loan is not due until you move out of the property, okay? Or you sell the property, or you, move out, sell the property. Those will be the two. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in 30 years, you're not paying anything. So for those, from the initial to 30 years, you're not paying on that, on the empowerment program. So no matter the amount borrowed, again, cap 250, there are no monthly payments or interest with Empower Homebuyers loan. Instead, when the loan matures, you decide to sell or refinance your mortgage, and you repay the original amount of your loan plus the shared appreciation of your home. And for more information, there is the link on that on there as well. So for those that may be interested in obtaining more information, you can go to housingtrust.sv.org/program/homebuyers-assistance/empower-SCC. Next. There's also the WISH program. The WISH program is a matching grant up to $30,800 for each participating household to be used for down payment or closing costs assistance. Matching grant $7,000 is the max amount to be matched. It's forgivable after 5 years. Income restrictions do apply, about 80% of HUD AMI. It's available on a first come, first served basis. For more information on that program, you can visit www.fhlbsf.com/community programs/grant programs/wish. And you can kind of just click on the overview and take a look at how that program works. Next. Now, here at A1 Community Housing, we pride ourselves in resourcing information for you guys. So we find out if there are any grants available and in the county that you're in, and what lenders may provide that. So one of the lenders that do provide grants is Bank of America. They have a 10K, America's Home Grant, plus a $7,500 for closing cost credit. There is also First Citizens Bank. They offer a 10K closing cost credit. And of course, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, the Black Wealth Initiative Grant. And you can also, if you have a lender that you're considering, we recommend highly that you speak to that loan officer and ask them if they offer any grants. And if they do, you want to apply for any grants that they're that they may offer. And grants can be used with down payment assistance side by side. So that means the more the merrier, right? The only thing that you cannot use side by side, for example, is 2 down payment assistance. Like, for example, you can't use a Cal FHA program with the empowerment program. Now, you can use, however, grants as long as they're with the same lender. So the key word is the same lender. As long as it's the same lender, and if that same lender that you're using, for example, to apply for Cal FHA or the Empower or for any down payment assistance, at that point, if that lending institution is working with 3 different grants, you can apply for all 3. As long as the monies are there and you are eligible for those grants, apply for all three. The more, the merrier. Next. Here at A1 Community Housing, we are hosting an event coming up on November 9th. November 9th, Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Shabbat College. It's in the Student Center Cafeteria Building 2300. It's a free event, so please, if you would like more information, let's talk housing fair at this event, and we welcome you guys to come and join us and learn more about the different programs and the different subjects that we'll be talking about on that day. Next. So we're going to talk about homeowners, secure your home and future, meet experts who can guide you through mortgage challenges and financial hardships. And that's one of the things that we do offer here at A1, is that if you're struggling to make your payment, we assist with the process. You know, we will take a look at your documents. We will go over an emergency budget and kind of help you package everything up, submit it over to your lender for consideration. You know, don't wait till the last minute when they're going to get ready to foreclose on your home. Please call your housing counselor so that they can be able to assist you with the process. Okay. There's also programs that you can discover as well to repair your home and maintenance. Learn about estate planning to protect your family legacy. Okay. Those are one of the things that, we can discuss here at A1 Community Housing. Also, again, first-time home buyers, achieve your home ownership goals. Learn about down payment assistance, grants, loans, below the market properties, BMR properties. They are very common right now in Alameda County. And they're everywhere, but they're not as popular as Alameda County. Okay, but BMRs do exist. What they stand for is below the market value properties, and it's through different programs, and they have different guidelines and different requirements as well. For more information, please, you can contact your housing counselor. You can also contact your realtor so that you can be informed as well. And you can stay informed on new real estate laws and ADU advantages as well. If you are a homeowner, there are also programs for ADUs. Understand your rights and protections under fair housing laws. These are the many things that here at A1 Community Housing, we are here to assist. If you guys are interested in attending the event, please go ahead and make sure to register. Next slide. There's a bar on there that you can scan and register for the event that's coming up on November 9th. Again, we would love to see you guys there and participate. And if you want to learn more, just email us or call us here at A1 Community Housing. Again, we're here to assist and help. And are there any questions?
Same process. We will give everyone a minute if they have any questions to put them in the question and answer feature. Alrighty. Doesn't look like we have any questions. Thank you so much, Lourdes. We really appreciate all the time you spent here today to give everyone this information.
Not a problem. If you guys, again, have any questions, let me know. Please feel free to obtain the information that's on the screen. And again, we are here to assist. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Lastly, joining us, we have Juliet Pascal from Silicon Valley Clean Energy to provide us with some information.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, I will get started with the presentation, so you can go ahead and to the next slide. So we are Silicon Valley Clean Energy, and I'll just start off with a quick overview of what is Silicon Valley Clean Energy if you haven't heard of us before, and just the basics of what we do, which is to provide the energy that becomes your electricity. So we are a community choice energy provider, and we generate the power that becomes your electricity. It gets delivered to our customers via PG&E infrastructure. So that's why, we show up on the PG&E bill, they provide the infrastructure and do the billing. And then of course it goes to our customers, so our residents and local businesses. So we're switching up a little bit for this topic of first time home buying, but it's important as a homeowner or as a renter to be aware of who we are as an agency and what we can provide. So that is our brief overview of our structure, and we can go to the next slide. So our mission as an agency is to reduce dependence on fossil fuels and provide carbon-free, affordable, and reliable electricity, as well as innovative programs for the SVCE community. So for programs, what this really means is that we are, providing rebates, educational resources for our customers, our residential customers, as well as small to medium business rebates. We also have several grant programs as well. So what we do is really reinvest into our community and our service territory from basically from our structure. And when we show up on your bill as the generation that provides your electricity, we take the money from the rates from that bill to buy clean energy and to provide these programs. And we can do the next slide, please. So if you are in Santa Clara County, you may be one of our customers. And we have each of our cities and towns listed here. And our type of agency is really common throughout the Bay Area. So while you see these cities and towns and they really represent Santa Clara County, South Bay, Silicon Valley area, please, if you want to drop in the chat or in the Q&A, there are many of these our types of agencies. So if you're in the East Bay or in San Jose, you may have San Jose Clean Energy, AVA Community Energy. Again, there are several types of programs like us. And I do want to highlight that we exist because these cities and towns essentially voted to buy their own energy and have it be clean. So that created Silicon Valley Clean Energy as the electricity provider for these areas. And this model is used throughout all these different types of agencies. So we are a not-for-profit and a public agency. So it is contrasted with PG&E, which is an investor-owned utility. We are not-for-profit and public. So we have transparency and are governed by local elected officials from each of these areas. And next slide, please. And I'm going to get into some of the programs that would be applicable for first-time homeowners. So I'll start off with our home rebates program, which provides up to $8,750 if you are switching from gas to electric appliances. And you can see, the list of appliances there, from heat pump water heaters, which is essentially a very efficient type of water heater, all the way to, if you need a new electricity panel to handle additional electricity demand in your home, you can get the $1,000 rebate for your panel. And I want to mention that, there's this list of rebates, and of course there are other incentives, like the other programs we heard from just before. There are other incentives that would stack with the rebates that we offer. So Silicon Valley Clean Energy has rebates, but so does BayREN, which is the Bay Area Regional Energy Network, and federal tax credits through the IRA. So you can look up the tax credits and see how those, the different incentives for all these different appliances. And there are state incentives as well. So there's a lot of stuff out there, and all of these incentives would stack with those. And next slide, please. And so the Go Electric Advisor is a tool for basically education for our customers. Going from gas to electric appliances can be very individual. Everyone lives in a different type of home. This is an advisor that can walk you through the process, help you find a contractor, help you figure out how to stack incentives, apply for our rebates or other rebates and tax credits as well. So the Go Electric Advisor can really just answer all of your questions about what we like to call electrification. So just going from gas to electric, the whole process. And if you are in our service territory, you can call the number, you can do an online chat through the website link there. There's also an email that you can find on that same website. So please reach out to our Go Electric Advisor just to figure out where to start, since it could be a daunting process if there are several appliances you want to upgrade, or if you want to do your HVAC system, which can get costly, time consuming. There could be all sorts of things that you can do with that. And so that's our way to help our customers figure out where to go from the initial, looking up and finding out about these programs that we have. So that is so the home rebates and the Go Electric Advisor are some of the main two programs that I wanted to highlight. And then on the next slide, there are more. We also have many other types of programs. Again, I'm talking about home appliances and rebates, but if you take a look there are many different things that we provide. And I do want to shout out that if you live in not a single family home, if you live in an apartment or a condo, if you're a renter, we do have other resources. So just to shout out some on this page, there's the DIY Energy Saving Toolkit. As we all know, energy efficiency can be a really great way to save money on your energy bills. So that's something that we provide through local libraries in our service territory. So the cities that we work with have DIY energy saving toolkits that provide things like weather stripping, kilowatt meters, the LED light bulbs that are extra energy efficient. So you can check out a toolkit and get energy saving resources there. There are business rebates on below on that, which also can be taken advantage of. Support for EV charging. We can work with multifamily properties, property managers, and provide support and sometimes funding for EV charging if that's something that you would want to send your way, to send to your landlord or property manager. And another program that I want to shout out, it's not on this list unfortunately, is that we just launched an income qualified EV rebate. So that would be $2,000 to buy an EV. So we do a lot of different programs, rebates, incentives, and things. So this has been, kind of an overview of everything we do, with a couple of special shout outs for other things. And I'll leave it at that. That contact email is a good place to reach out to if you have any specific questions after this. And I will turn it back to Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Juliet. Again, I will give about a couple seconds for anyone who has any questions to put them in the Q&A. All right, looks like we've run through the program very efficiently tonight. So on behalf of Dr. Wahab, I would like to express our profound gratitude to all of our wonderful presenters for their thoughtful contributions to our program tonight. And thank you to everyone else for attending State Senator Dr. Aisha Wahab's virtual Homebuyers workshop. If you have any additional questions, or ever need assistance with the state agency, I'd love to encourage you to contact our office. You can give us a call or go to our website or contact us through social media. We do constituent casework and also take ideas for legislation for the coming year. So thank you so much, everyone, again, and have a great night.